Hello there friends, S1MPLE Live here. In today's video, the end of Eternal Fire, new details on G2's roster changes. S1MPLE opens up about offers from other teams and the results of the first day of PGL Bucharest, plus a bunch of other exciting news from the world of CS2. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And I think we shall kick off this episode with one of the biggest headlines of the past few days. The entire Eternal Fire roster has officially moved to Aurora. It all started when Aurora announced a disband. All players were benched and the org began teasing a big reveal. Just a few hours later it was confirmed. They bought out the full Eternal Fire lineup, coach included. Aurora welcomed the new squad and the community immediately split into two camps. The first group started digging for the reasons behind such a move, and honestly the answer is pretty simple. Eternal Fire lost their sponsors due to new Turkish laws restricting gambling and betting partnerships. You can basically see that since 2025 they had nothing printed on their t-shirts, jerseys. They're just blank. And to keep the organization afloat, they even relocated to Hungary on paper. But that wasn't enough to fix their financial struggles, and eventually they had to switch from a Turkish org to a Serbian one. The others, the second group, is obviously the furious fans. Many saw this as betrayal and started flaming the players and the org. Some suggested changing the logo as a tribute to the old team, while others took it further, destroying merch and threatening to play under the Eternal Fire tag for free just to keep the Turkish name alive. Interestingly enough, many of these fans actually quickly shifted their loyalty to the Mongols, who might face similar legal issues soon. Surely the players didn't stay silent. Major, as the captain, spoke. He said that he understands the disappointment and explained that this wasn't an easy choice. He promised to keep fighting for the dream, for family and for their supporters. While the coach gave more details. According to him, it was never about money. Most of the players had already turned down high-paying offers just to keep playing under the Turkish flag. But things got so bad they had no choice but to sell the org and join another one, just to stay competitive and keep delivering results. He made it clear it was all because of local politics and the team was on the verge of sinking. Still, they will continue playing under the Turkish flag, they will keep promoting Turkish CS, and they are determined to make it even bigger. He added that the fans aren't obligated to support the team in the new chapter, but if some do stay, the team will be truly grateful. My friends, this whole situation is crazy, to be honest. Don't forget to write your thoughts in the comments below. Staying on topic of team struggles, especially when it comes to money, we've got to talk about what's happening behind the scenes, because a lot of orgs are now negotiating salary cuts with their players. Sponge brought it up recently, and honestly, it's likely something that many teams are dealing with, not just because of sponsor issues, but because of plain old financial trouble. Take FaZe for example, they've been having money problems for a while now, and things are getting worse, even though they kinda are staying afloat. But lately they've been letting go of players for free. Then you've got teams like 3D Max who are actively hunting for sponsors just to stay alive. And some fans are even speculating that G2 might be in the same boat, especially after rumors came out that they couldn't agree on a new deal with M0NESY'S and his contract extension. And honestly, my friends, this whole cash and money situation seems crazy to me, because just look at the schedule. We've got a lot of tournaments and huge amounts of money, numerous sponsors in the deals, and still organizations can't find money? Wow, something's wrong, and I'm kinda scared. But well, let's move on. And since we've already brought up M0NESY'S, let's dive deeper into what's been revealed about his potential move to Falcons. And it's a big one. So according to reports, the transfer could happen very soon. Anytime basically, between today and the 2nd of June. And here's the kicker, even though M0NESY'S contract with G2 is set to expire, G2 still managed to squeeze a massive buyout from Falcons. Reportedly the biggest in CS2 history for a single player. In Insiders claim that G2 asked for a minimum of $2.2 million, with the final amount possibly reaching $2.5 million. And to put that into perspective, that's more than Aurora paid for the entire Eternal Fire roster, according to other insiders. But the potential M0NESY move might just be the start of a domino effect within the Falcons camp. With M0NESY and NiKo potentially joining forces once again, many top players could be looking to join them. According to some sources, Falcons were even eyeing Apex from Vitality for a possible buyout, but I honestly really doubt that. But also don't forget about unsigned young talents like Kyousuke. The org might look to add fresh blood if needed. That said, even without more roster moves, a core of NiKo and M0NESY coached by Zane could already be enough to compete at highest level and boost Falcons a lot. Former Na'Vi player Senya believes that this lineup could easily break into top 5, maybe even top 3, with the perfect mix of young firepower and veteran leadership. The downside here is that if these changes go through, Dexter might be benched again or even leave the roster altogether. Poor guy. And one thing's for sure, according to insiders, he won't be joining G2, so no sniper swaps included. However, rumors say Team Liquid might be interested in picking him up. Guys, what do you think about the changes in Falcons? Is this finally the dream lineup that will take them to the top? Or are they still headed for another letdown? Tell us in the comments below. But on a side note, Kyousuke should really consider FaZe, not Falcons, because they basically might not be the best option for him, at least that's what S1MPLE thinks. According to Alexander, if Kyousuke's English is good enough, he should seriously think about joining FaZe. It could be the best move for him both and the team. From FaZe's perspective, he could easily replace Rain, who's been struggling in the lurker role. On top of that, Kyousuke would bring extra firepower and fresh creative ideas to the team. And for Kyousuke, it's a huge opportunity. He'd get to play alongside one of the best, if not the best IGL in the world, and also make his Tier 1 debut right away in a top tier lineup. And speaking of S1MPLE, he opened up about recent offers from other teams. He mentioned that he's been getting offers lately, and a lot of them, but the price teams are willing to pay is slowly dropping, basically because orgs aren't sure what level he's at right now. No one knows what the former best player in the world is really capable of anymore. And since he's still streaming, it probably means the offer either came from teams he's not interested in, or the money just wasn't good enough, both for him personally and Na'Vi. Still, with M0NESY likely leaving G2, Brokey underperforming, and Wonderful clearly struggling, there is a good chance that we will see S1MPLE back on a Tier 1 team soon, as long as he proves he's still got it. And by the way, guys, do you follow us on Twitter? If you don't, the link is in the description. There we post all the breaking news ASAP. And yeah, also don't forget to follow this channel and hit a like button as well. Thank you. Now, finally, let's talk about PGL Bucharest, the most weird tournament of the year, and that's because, well, it basically doesn't matter. First of all, the results won't affect RMR invites in any way. Second, it's a 1.25 million tournament being played without a live audience. And third, the top 4 teams in the world are not attending. So basically, it's just a huge brawl for some money, and that's all. And maybe to try some strats. Still, despite all that, Day 1 delivered some wild action. For example, just look at Virtus.Pro versus Rare Atom. Out of nowhere, the Chinese squad pulled off a massive upset. At one point on map 1, the score was 9-0, in their favor obviously. And after the side switch, somebody pulled off a clutch with Mag 7. Map 2 though was a bit closer, and Ice even got a cheeky knife frag. But then at 10-7, Summer went for a 1v5 clutch. Wow, he really nailed it. So yeah, the day kicked off with a huge shocker, VP losing to one of the tournament's underdogs. Another huge highlightful match was G2 versus Gamer Legion, especially map 2. The Samurai had to fight back from 5-10, and they did it, barely, with the help of overtimes, even though Sland almost pulled off a 1v4, a beautiful one. Nevertheless, GG's. Meanwhile, Falcons continued to hit new lows. They lost the opening match to Complexity, a team many consider tier 2 or tier 3 at best. But the real disaster was Team Liquid. Even with their new IGL and Shui, they somehow managed to lose to Legacy in the very first game. And I remind you, it's a best of 3, not best of 1. The first map ended with a blowout, 13-5, and map 2 was sealed with a 1v3 clutch by Lato. Sure, maybe they're still adjusting to the new in-game leader, but losing to a top 50 team on day 1? That's just rough. And get this, not a single Liquid player finished with a positive KD. Meanwhile, every Legacy player did. Finally, the most intense matchup of the day was Aurora, Eternal Fire versus Pain. Both maps went to overtimes. On Inferno, Pain came back from 7-11 and closed it out in OTs. And the decider too was incredibly close, but at 11-11, Aurora won a 3v5, which felt like the turning point. From there, the game went to double OTs, and in the end, it was the Turks who came out on top. In a parallel match between FaZe and Astralis, things got weird. It all started with the Danes absolutely smashing FaZe on Ancient, and smashing might be putting it lightly because 13-4 is just brutal, especially against a team like FaZe, who were one of the clear favorites. Then came Dust 2, and honestly guys, it looked like both teams were just trolling. First at 3-0, Kerrigan somehow failed to spray down an enemy from behind. Then FaZe found themselves down 4-8, but managed to claw their way back and turned it into a 12-11. And that's when we witnessed probably the worst clutch ever. Instead of defusing the bomb, Kerrigan randomly decided to take the fight and lost. Bro, why? Still, despite the disaster, FaZe somehow managed to close out map 2. On the decider, things took another turn. FaZe were in the zone. They closed the first half evenly. But after the side switch, they only managed to take 2 rounds and ended up losing the series to Astralis. But all things considered, I got freaked out by one fact about Cadian. According to Flom, the old, cheerful and energetic Cadian is long gone. Flom says that now Cadian is just apparently struggling with some serious mental health issues that he's actively working on. If that's true and Flom is not just trolling, I hope he's okay. Wishing him only the best. Also that day, the Mongols faced off against 3D Max, and surprisingly, the French squad came out on top, winning the last 2 maps 13-10. As for the last match, Furia vs Apogee, there were no surprises. Furia took a clean 2-0 win. And my friends, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow the channel, drop a like and leave a comment below. And if you don't want to miss out the latest CS2 news, make sure to hit the notification bell. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time, my friends. See you soon.